my name is Jake, and I'm back here with number 97 in my top 102 album countdown. And today, it is Johnny Cash's legendary farewell, American 4, The Man Comes Around. This album was released on November 5th, 2005, and not only is it the fourth album in Johnny Cash's American Recordings series, it is the final studio album that was released during Cash's lifetime. And I don't know if you've caught on to the 102 album trends, but I'm only putting in one album per artist. And for my Johnny Cash album, I totally could have picked, At Folsom Prison or the San Quentin live album. And those would definitely be better representations of Cash's artistry as a whole. I mean, on this album, there's only one song I think he wrote for this album, and it is, of course, the title track. The rest is just covers and re-recordings. But each and every one of them are just as, if not more engaging than the original song or recording of. At least to me. Obviously, all of them have very sort of grim and very sobering undertones. This is a man who has lived a life. If you've ever seen the movie Walk the Line or read his book Cash, you know that this guy has he's lived, and this is really just him taking it all into evaluation, the good and the bad through songs. And that is probably one of the most beautiful concepts for an album, to me at least. The concept alone touched my soul. The rest of the album, the songs themselves, are another story, and I'm going to get into them right now. Track 1, The Man Comes Around. The opening and closing Bible verses. Chills up the arm, down the spine. Oh my gosh. Yes. This song is pretty much about, the book of Revelation in the Bible. And it's basically saying, you better be ready when the man comes around. The man, of course, being Jesus Christ. And I grew up pretty religious, and I still consider myself very much so to be a religious person. And Johnny Cash's words really, especially in this song, really resonate with me. I love, that side of him. I'm not very much into, gospel music or anything like that, but I mean, or even really country music, to tell you the truth. I am not a country fan at all. But Johnny Cash, there is something about him, and of course this song, that is absolute. I mean, I wouldn't call him genre bending by any means, but he definitely broke out of the stereotypes of whatever he decided to do, and was just authentically, unapologetically himself. And most of my favorite artists are very much so like that. One last thing, I have a very sort of interesting story about this song. So my mom was driving me home from work one day, and we were listening to this song, and we were both so into it that my mom, right as we were approaching our house, was like, let's just drive through and listen to it one more time. She never does that. When we're home, regardless of what song is on. We drive past our house, just listen to the song again. And as soon as Johnny Cash says the lyric about the white horse right at the beginning, what is seen before our eyes but a Clydesdale white horse with a carriage moving right past us? We parked for a solid minute, somewhere, just to take that in. It was one of the most surreal things that happened to me in my life. I mean, obviously the white horse, I think, in that song was supposed to resemble death. And I mean, we're both still alive, thank God. But I mean, that is a moment I will carry with me for as long as I live. Track 2, Hurt. Whether you know who Johnny Cash is or not, you know this song. It is one of the probably one of the most well-known songs from my lifetime, at least, I think. It is one of Cash's most defining moments, and maybe his penultimate. To me, it is one of the most moving pieces of recorded music ever put on this planet. Most of you probably know that this is a cover of a Nine Inch Nails song, and he takes Trent Reznor's original lyrics about addiction, changes one little line, and makes pretty much the exact same song about just aging, his own battle with addiction, I'm assuming. You know, each song he covers on the album, he sings from a completely different perspective than the original. And obviously this is the shining example of that. It's so, like, painfully bleak and nostalgic in a bad way. A lot of the songs on here, he's kind of, looking back on his life through covers. And, he's kind of just embracing it, it was my life. It is what it is. This song is very, it kind of feels like he's saying, I wasn't happy with it. Whether he was or not, I mean, only he knows, truth be told. But it's still a powerful, depressing statement regardless. And it's one of those songs that you can't really speak during or after listening to it for a good while. It is just that profound. It is probably the best cover of all time. I'll go as far as to say that. And Trent Reznor actually wasn't even sold on it until he saw the video. The video is a whole different story, but Trent Reznor, he said, I felt like I lost a girlfriend because that song isn't mine anymore. And as much as I love Nine Inch Nails and the original, I know, I see what you mean there, for sure. Track 3, Give My Love to Rose. This is a re-recording of a song that originally appeared on Johnny Cash Sings Hank Williams. Even though this wasn't a Hank Williams song, nor did Hank Williams do any recording of it. But okay. This song was inspired by a prisoner from San Quentin who wanted Johnny to deliver some kind of message to the prisoner's wife. And assuming, just give my love to her, etc. And it's really, I feel like here Johnny's kind of singing almost to his family, maybe. Especially, the reason I feel that way is purely just because of the lyric, I was trying to get back to Louisiana to see my Rose and to get to know my son. I mean, definitely Johnny kind of, he was on tour a lot. And, he was a family man. But I think he definitely regretted the times where, he was away for so long. And I think that really reflects beautifully here. Track 4, Bridge Over Troubled Water. This is, of course, a cover of a Simon & Garfunkel song. And this song has backing vocals from the amazing Fiona Apple. She is one of the best artists we have currently, in my opinion. I definitely want to talk about her discography sometime on here. There is not a miss in there, especially, her most recent album, Fetch the Bolt Cutters, is quite something indeed. And they both sound beautiful on here. This is an incredibly moving cover. It definitely sounds like Johnny is singing to his wife, June Carter Cash, here. The vocals just so endearing and passionate. I like it just as much as the original, to tell you the truth. Track 5, I Hung My Head. This is, of course, a cover of a Sting song, And I mean, lyrically, it already sounds like a Johnny Cash song, anyways. He's talking about, grabbed my brother's rifle, shot a man off his horse, you know, you know. I mean, it is a Johnny Cash song, just with Sting qualities. However, Johnny Cash made this song his, as with pretty much any other cover on this album. I definitely much prefer this to the original. The original's a perfectly fine song, by all means, but it's really the production and the vocals completely, I think. It's fine when, vocals or production, whatever. It's fine if they don't match up with the lyrics sometimes. You can make that absolutely work. A lot of the stuff I've covered on this channel makes it work. This song, it's like it doesn't empathize with the narrator, if that makes any sense. Johnny Cash's version, he really channels that guilt that the narrator explicitly states he's feeling. And I mean, really, it's like you feel sorry for someone who just shot an innocent guy on a horse. Only Johnny Cash could make you feel that. Track 6, First Time I Ever Saw Your Face. Originally written by Ewan MacColl, and of course popularized by Roberta Flack, Johnny takes one of the most beautiful love songs ever written and turns it into one of the most beautifully sad. It's the way he's singing this song. It's like if June was already gone and he's just looking back on what was. And, as most of you know, June died not very long, I think just a few months after this album came out, and Johnny sadly was not far behind. So, I mean, it's again, like her, definitely, he's singing from a very sort of depressingly nostalgic point of view. And, I mean, I think this is just as profound as the original. Track 7, Personal Jesus. This is a cover of a Depeche Mode song, and it features two of my favorite guitar players of all time. John Frusciante from the Red Hot Chili Peppers does the main riff, and Mike Campbell from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers is also on this song as well. Now, I love the sort of ominousness of Depeche Mode's original, but something about Cash's vocal delivery, he almost sounds depraved on this one, and just the stripped down instrumentation, it's almost creepier, almost. I mean, I think it is at least just as effective. I really, really, especially love his take on this song. Track 8, In My Life. Fun fact about me, the Beatles' original is my favorite song of all time. So, naturally, I'd be a little skeptical of anyone else doing this song. However, when I originally heard this album, and I saw this on the track listing, and I had kind of heard the other songs on the album, and was grasping the concept of it, I looked forward to it more than any of the other ones. And it somehow surpassed my expectations emotionally, musically, you name it. I guess it is by default my favorite song on the album. I mean, this is the most heartbreaking rendition of this song conceivable. I mean, it's a 25-year-old man at the peak of his career looking back on life and love versus a 70-year-old man in the twilight years of his life looking back on life and love. And both songs are absolute works of art. The original is so beautifully nostalgic, and this one, it almost brought me to tears, to tell you the truth. It's right up there with the original. Absolutely. That's the only version of this song that I can say that to. Track 9, Sam Hall. This is classic Cash. This is a traditional folk song, and you can tell he was in his comfort zone with this one. I don't know, something about it, just hearing it in his voice, you could definitely tell he was having a little bit of fun with this one. And even though the lyrics are still a little, down, it's definitely, it somehow still lightens up the album. And I like that it's on here, be honest. It's a good song. Track 10, Danny Boy. This is an Irish ballad with, just Cash and the pipe organ to boot. And he sounds so tearful and sorrowful on this song. I know this is a re-recording, I believe on the Orange Blossom album, and I can't tell you the exact reason why Cash picked this song, but I am so unbelievably happy he did, because it fits in with the rest of the album perfectly. Track 11, Desperado. This is, of course, a cover of an Eagles song, and it even features Don Henley, the writer of the song, on backing vocals. I like this one eons better than the original. The original, I think Don Henley originally wrote it about a friend, and, it's very, produced, and that's fine. I like it. It's a fine song, really. But Johnny Cash's version, he sounds like he's singing very much to himself here, and just kind of coming to terms with the fact that, that he's getting old, the outlaw in him is really no more, and this is just him coming to terms with that, and he does it beautifully on here. Track 12, I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry. This one is actually a Hank Williams song, but it's not on the Johnny Cash Sings Hank Williams album, even though it's one of Hank Williams' most well-known songs. But okay. This is, to me, one of the most perfect musical collaborations in recent years. It's a duet with one of my favorite musicians of all time, Nick Cave. And the reason it works so beautifully is because even though Johnny Cash and Nick Cave make drastically different music, they both have that same attitude towards, loneliness and aging and nostalgia. It just gives this song so much more depth. It is one of the most, I couldn't think of a better team up for this song. It is one of those things I'm just so glad that it even happened. Regardless how it would have turned out, thankfully it turned out wonderfully. Just these two musical minds coming together, it is definitely one for the books. Track 13, Tear-Stained Letter. This is another re-recording from Cash, and despite the really sad, pleading lyrics, instrumentally, it's relatively more upbeat than the rest of the album. Even the original was way more sad sounding, but like I said earlier, it hypes the album up a little bit. It's relatively, it has some range, which I like. The only reason I can really think why he picked this is because it was probably one of his personal favorites to sing in concert or to record, whatnot. And I like that he puts those songs on here. This is him looking back on his life in songs. And I like that those songs are on here, for sure. They were a part of him. Track 14, Streets of Laredo. This is a classic traditional country song. Marty Robbins famously recorded it. Willie Nelson did as well. But I can tell you none of them have sounded this depressing. Like Desperado, definitely sounds like Cash is mourning the cowboy/outlaw he once had in him, and just sort of coming to terms with the fact that he is, in the later years of his life. And just, him looking back, it was what it was. And that's really all there is to it. It's a beautiful cover. It is hands down my favorite rendition of this song, bar none. Track 15, final track, We'll Meet Again. This was originally sung, of course, by Vera Lynn, and this is probably the most tragically fitting way to end the album. I mean, Cash vocally has not sounded happier on this record. I mean, it's very subtle, but I mean, he definitely, you could tell he was recording his farewell. And it is chilling, down to the vintage sounding instrumentation. It definitely, the instrumentation sounds like something I would hear on like an old radio, you know, similar to this song. And the very end, when the whole Cash gang, as he calls it, just kicks right in with, you know, the backup vocals. It is probably one of the most chilling ends to an album I have ever heard. Overall, don't let the fact that this is primarily covers and re-recordings fool you. This is one of the most profoundly moving albums I think ever recorded. It is definitely one of the best goodbyes from an artist of all time. And I mean, it is one of those albums, it's like, it feels like it's bigger than music, because it is. This is the final statement from the greatest country artist and one of the all-time great recording artists to ever walk this earth. And, you know, I am just so glad that he left us this for, you know, just because every single song on here, every cover, every re-recording is an improvement, if not just as good as the original. You know, it is one of those albums that is absolutely, regardless of whatever you are a fan of, country or not, no country, Cash or not Johnny Cash, it is worth every minute of your time. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and for making it all the way to the end. Seriously, I thank you. I can't stress that enough. And to those very few people that watch me regularly, thank you for sticking out 2 depressing videos in a row. You guys are the real MVPs. I got you. Thank you. If you have any requests, anything you want me to talk about, music or movie related, just drop it down below in the comments. My name is Jake. I'll be back.